back in 1943, I became 18, and my dad, who was in the 1914-1918 conflict, he couldn't join again, so he said, well, the three daughters can go. So we three daughters joined the Air Force. We went to Sydney, to Bradfield Park, and did a rookie's course of 5 weeks. We had to learn aeronautics, identify planes, and a bit of drill throw and end. And then when we'd finished our course, we were then posted to different areas. We became WT operators, wireless telegraphy, and telephonists. And the reason we were moved around so much was both of us had the same mustering, and they couldn't accommodate us at any one of the units. So they had to keep moving us so we could both work in the same area. I was posted to Wagga, and my twin sister was posted to Dubbo, and my dad didn't like that, so we both ended up at Dubbo. And we left Dubbo and went to Brisbane, Tocumwal, Melbourne, yes, and Cairns, yes. So that was my time in uniform, and of course in 1945 the war was over, so I only had 2 years and 3 months in uniform. And then after I came out of uniform, I met my husband.
Was it one of those some enchanted evening kind of moments, or what was it like?
Will I tell?
Oh, okay.
Well, he was in the army and I was in the Air Force, and we met, first of all at Dubbo, and then I didn't think anything about it, and then I was posted to Brisbane and he was also posted to Brisbane. And one of my twin sister said, do you want to go on a blind date? And I said, oh no. And she said, oh come on, make up the 6 of us. So we met, and who should be there but Alan? And I had bought some strawberries to eat at the theatre, and he liked strawberries, so we went from there. Then his parents came up from Rose Bay to meet me, and his dad okayed it, and we became engaged.
Did you feel with your own service that you were doing your bit?
Oh, definitely. I mean, you just went on duty when you were told, and you didn't have a regular time, and you could work all night, or you'd come home or come back to barracks, and you might have half a day and then you're back at work. So, your time wasn't your own. Yeah.
And did the war, in many aspects, change the view and the relationship between men and women in Australia? Did it change things?
I think it did. For reasons being that women had to go and do the men's jobs, and that worked while the war was on, but then when the war was over, the men came back and wanted their job, and the women was back in the home. It did alter the way of life, yes. We were married 72 years. In that time we did a lot of things together. Alan was a dedicated worker for everything. When he retired, he played golf naturally, but then having open heart, he found he couldn't play as he'd like to, so he joined a bowling club and he became an international umpire and coach and dedicated his time. We're both life members of several things, but then I guess when you get to my age, you could be.
Okay, your age is what?
95.
Over your vast experience in life, what do you think are the important things?
I think it's to be honest is very important, and try and help people. I mean, that's what I did, I worked in the nursing homes and the hospital. I felt that if you didn't do anything, then you were lazy, and that was how I looked at life. I'm lost now. I'm not out every day doing something, but I'm starting to fit in and settle down, making friends, which is not easy at 95, but the people at the CWA, they range from about 70 on.
Yeah, Sylvia's only fairly new, but she's brought so much to this branch. Yeah, her daughter made a lot of things for our spring fair, and yeah, Sylvia's a very motivated person.
Yeah, so when you think, oh, I don't want to get out of bed today, and you think, so she bolts through the door and you go, okay.
Do you think it's important for younger Australians of my generation, of my daughter's generation, to understand the role of service people in this country and to understand the history of the First and Second World Wars?
Yeah. Simon, we used to go to the schools, the junior school and the high schools at Port Macquarie. We had every school in Port lay a wreath on Anzac Day and Armistice Day. And I think the senior people were starting to realise what the older people had done, like your son. The fact that he was there on Armistice Day, I don't think he was made to go. I think he volunteered to do that. So that's showing that that age group are becoming interested. I don't expect them to feel sorry for us at all. We were there to do something, do a job. They've got to understand that Australia is a lucky country that we all survived it. And they should appreciate their freedom. That's very important. Well, I'd be very, very disappointed and sorry if there was another conflict. I mean, it's just far too upsetting for families, and when they don't come back, there's the tragedy, very much so. And if only the children could realise now, my dad was a musician and he was one of the directors for the Pollard's Opera Company, and when he came back from the war, there was no work for him. Who wants to listen to music after the war? So the only way he could get work was to go to country towns and be a bandmaster. And then the council would give him a job as a clerk to fill his time in, so he got some money. It's very hard for people when they come back. Even now, the men coming back, they've been overseas 12 months, maybe longer, and they can't fit in back into family life. It's just impossible.
So you saw a lot of
I did.
broken people.
I have, and particularly Vietnam guys. I have seen a lot there, and it's not good, not good. I have been very lonely back at Port. No family, wonderful friends and wonderful neighbours, but there's no one can cure that. You have to do something about it yourself. And if only people, the younger ones, would make conversation with you, you'd at least have something to talk about. Well, I spoke to your son, Sam, and it was rewarding because he didn't mind talking to me, even though I was an old person. I grew up with my twin sister beside me, and then I married and I had Alan beside me. Then suddenly, I have no one. And that was very hard to live with, very much so.
What attitude do you have, and what would you like to sort of tell others about, about growing old and something that many people fear, I think?
Yes. I think the most important thing is help one another and do things for one another. And don't be too critical, because we've all got little idiosyncrasies in our makeup. but you can't be too critical. But unless you stand on your own 2 feet, you're not going to get anywhere. That's my feeling.